The government of Barbados has reversed its decision to observe November 30th as National Day instead of Independence Day after an intense negative reaction from the public in the face of the surprise November 1st announcement. We reported on Wednesday that the government was slammed for seemingly reneging on a promise made by Prime Minister Mia Mottley last August not to interfere with the Independence Day celebrations. Citizens were not mollified by a Tuesday night social media post by Mottley attempting to explain the apparent about-face, with many expressing their disappointment, hurt, and anger over the move. The public outcry continued until, in a statement issued very late on Wednesday night, Information Minister Wilfred Abrahams walked back the unpopular announcement, saying that the response of Barbadians was, quote, swift and vocal, with the overwhelming majority of you not in favor of the change or its timing. Categorizing the Mia Mottley administration as, quote, the government that listens, Abrahams, in his statement, said that in his capacity as chair of the Cabinet Subcommittee on National Events in November, he would suggest that the change to National Day be, quote, paused pending inclusive public discourse and consultation with the widest possible cross-section of the Barbadian public and with the social partnership. A subsequent announcement on Thursday afternoon following the weekly cabinet meeting indicated that the day would continue to be called Independence Day, with a decision on how best to celebrate the transition to a republic being made after national consultations are held. Residents, by and large, reacted to the development with relief, with many expressing thankfulness that the government had acknowledged their concerns. However, the entire two-day drama left some feeling a lingering sense of unease that a decision of such significance had been made with zero input from the public, and that it had to take an overwhelming amount of pushback from the citizenry for the government to decide to seek input from those who elected them into an overwhelming parliamentary majority. Others, including Democratic Labour Party President Ronnie Yearwood, felt that the Prime Minister had been less than truthful in her handling of the matter.
Prime Minister light. I am not about what I call Sunday morning Sunday school politics. You know, the reality is if people are lying in politics, we need to start calling them that and stop pretending. Last year, there was a promise and a view that Independence Day will remain as Independence Day, and then you come on anniversary, literally months on the eve, to tell us you're changing the name, but then you've lied to us. Because there's no other explanation to it. And even if you change your mind, let's consider that eventuality. But then we deserve an explanation as to why you changed your mind, and not a situation where you try to gaslight the people of Barbados as if the promise was not made that Independence Day would remain.
Yearwood rebuffed the suggestion that the Prime Minister had sufficiently explained the reasoning behind the decision to make the change in her Tuesday night comments.
And it was an attempt to drag the office of the presidency into the Prime Minister's political pillow. The independent office of the presidency had nothing to do with this. If you wanted to celebrate the office of the presidency and the first president of Barbados, there are a number of days that nobody is objecting to that celebration that you could choose. You could even create President's Day. I mean, that is also an option.
The consortium reached out to one Barbadian who had vocalized their objection to the Barbados National Day idea. Twitter user CHRXSB, who had called the initial decision to change the name of the November 30th celebration not well thought out. We asked his thoughts on the about-face by the administration. He called the move a, quote, interesting development, noting that, quote, the government has backpedaled after the PM doubled down on the decision. He called Mottley's response on Tuesday night, quote, extremely dismissive of the crux of the issue, saying that she, quote, essentially reduced outrage to a name change when Bajans were upset with the way in which the decision was made. The young Barbadian likened Mottley's comments to pouring gasoline on a dumpster fire. CHSRXB echoed the sentiments of a significant cohort of social media users in expressing pleasure at the decision to pause the adoption of Barbados National Day, but said that he was concerned about how the administration was going about making consequential decisions for the country. Quote, a cabinet unilaterally made this decision concerning a huge historical aspect of the country without so much as a heads up to the people they serve, and saw nothing wrong with that until Bajans spoke up. Authority is derived from the consent of the governed, and this government seems to have forgotten that, end quote. With a renewed promise by the Cabinet of Ministers to keep November 30th as Independence Day, the world's newest republic must now decide on the best way to observe and celebrate this momentous shift in status.